All right, here we are with another Saturday Night Live and another very special guest, Ari Berry. Is that your real name?
No, my name is Erica.
Erica.
Everybody is how my boyfriend calls me.
Awesome. So, Erica or Ari, how do you prefer?
Erica is fine.
Erica's fine. What brings you into the MFS realm? What's maybe tell us a little bit about your background. Were you involved with taking care of your health prior, or was this something new to you?
Uh, no, yes and no. I was involved. Nothing really terrible, thank goodness. But yes, I in the last few years I was really wanting to just self improve myself and prevent disease. Like everybody's getting sick around, and just clean myself up. But just to start from the beginning. I grew up in Mexico. My family had a pretty decent diet with grains and lots of eggs, and I grew up fairly healthy. I do remember having a lot of bladder infections when I was a little kid. I always had like the that pain in when you pee, and so I remember those. And I also remember having a lot of canker sores. Those were like my main two issues that were like just part of me. Um, and then there was a period where both of my parents, worked in the U.S. and they left us with my aunt in Mexico, and so I did have a year of malnutrition. My dear aunt, she wouldn't really feed us very well, and I remember like even eating just like dry bread, like dry piece of bread, just because I was so.
Wow.
Yeah, and my mom did send the money and everything, but like we just never knew until we're adults. So in any case, after that, of course, my mom switched to the other aunt, and my other aunt overfed us. Like you gonna finish, or you're gonna finish, or you don't go play. So it was just a lot of like rice and beans and soup. Like it was so much food. It was overwhelming. But anyway, we were better off, right? Um, then became a teenager and a little more sort of like in control of what I ate. But because my mom and dad were away, my sisters and I would just pretty much eat junk food. So, whatever we wanted to eat, we bought at the store, like chips, and we would eat a lot of like potatoes and eggs. There's a say we used to say, like we're very proud in this house. Eggs have never lacked, which in Spanish translates to like, we're not lazy. Nunca han faltado huevos. But anyway, so, I was about 3 years of that where like we just like all over the place and with no regulation. So we did what we did. Then I moved with my parents to the US, and, I was introduced to the American diet, which I thought everything smelled so bad. Like, I remember driving by McDonald's one day, and I'm like, ew, what's that? It's horrible. But like, it was like this grease, like fried grease smell, like, the pizza smelled awful.
What age was that?
I was like 17.
Okay.
Yeah, everything smells so bad. But, your body kind of like gets used to it, because eventually it doesn't smell bad anymore. I was not so much into it to begin with, but I do remember that I would eat more bread than before, like not as much tortillas, like more bread, pasta, and just more packaged food than before. So that that was the lifestyle then. And then eventually when I got to college, in one of the classes, we read a book called The Jungle. And I was horrified, to say the least, about the treatment of the factories and the animals and how, all the disgusting things that happen. So I decided, oh, wouldn't it be great if I became a vegetarian? And I had a transition of about 5 years that it took me to just let go of things. I never forced myself to anything. I just kind of like changing my belief system that kind of like slowly steer me away from certain things. Until in the year 2000, I decided, okay, I'm a vegetarian and no more sodas, because before I used to drink sodas as well. So I became a vegetarian, but I was uninformed and I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't have any role models. So I ate a lot of cheese, a lot of bread, not a lot of fruits, not a lot of salads, and grains, and everything cooked, of course, and stir fried. So I was still wondering why am I breaking out? I'm vegetarian. I had a few years of that, and then my father love for animals and my compassion, I decided to become vegan too, because I used to eat a lot of eggs too. So I became a vegan, and again, still I was not quite informed either. So unfortunately, I rely on grains, and I wasn't doing very well. I was always bloated, and I'm trying to read my notes here.
It tastes great.
And I would like coffee with cakes and sweets, and I was just not informed. And I don't think that back then when I was doing this, there were as many like YouTube videos, or I wasn't even I didn't even know what Google was. I mean,
What age? How long ago was this?
This was like in 2005 when I became vegan.
Oh, okay, for a while, yeah.
Yeah. But like now, obviously, there's so much information out there. So let's see here.
Yeah, there's a lot of info, and there's a lot of junk vegetarians and junk vegans.
And like high fat.
The word is very vague, yeah.
So, I did more research because I was starting to feel like really sore gums, and I read like, oh, the grains and the fruits, no fruits and no grains. So then reverting a little back, in the year 2000, when I decided to become a vegetarian, that's also I started doing like emotional healing work. I met my best friend, and she was a healer, and so I started doing that route, and that really helped me shred a lot of emotional garbage, and really completely changed me to the point that I decided to get divorced because I got married at some point. But anyway, so it was a great transformation into focusing into myself. That's when I actually started loving myself more and caring more about me and more about the planet, and just switching my perspective into how I affect the world and how the world affects me. And now I can hear me. What's that?
You're living in the U.S.?
I was living in the U.S. I was living in Northern California. I still do actually live in Northern California. And let's see, I'm trying to see here because I had a little timeline here. Yes, so then I noticed that that my gums were sore and my teeth were sore, so I started supplementing myself with the cod liver oil butter combination thing and just other things, and it did help a little bit, and eventually I would forget about it, but I wanted to research more into how how to heal the body from the inside out. So I found people who did the raw vegan diet. And I was very impressed with a few people that I found. So I said, okay, I want to be like them. I'm going to try this. And again, unfortunately, I did it the wrong way. I bought a dehydrator, and of course, there's crackers, flax crackers, high fats, high grains. And I noticed that I was still bloated, my teeth were still sore. That I did the biggest mistake that I ever made was supplementing myself with collagen and SMS. I think it's sulfur, right? SMS.
MSM.
MSM. Yes, that one.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an awful thing that ever happened to me. Like I noticed I started aging and I started losing my hair by the handfuls, and my teeth not only were they sore, but they were the gums were receding. It was horrible. I was like, oh my God, like I'm gonna be bald. It's horrible. And I also had this little, it was like a grape-sized tumor in between my bladder and my uterus. And I did run away from the medical system because they did want to like do an MRI and cut me open and extirpate it. But I went the homeopathic route, and after I say 5 years, that's pretty much dissolved. But just like other, I noticed like I was always tired. And another of the big mistakes that I made was drinking alkaline water. I would buy the alkaline water and it was like a 9. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it was a mistake or not. Oh no, you know what it was? It wasn't the alkaline water. It was deionized water and reverse osmosis. And that's when I started to feel even worse. I felt like I was breaking down, like I was tired all the time.
How much water were you drinking?
Well, I was trying to drink half my weight in ounces. Mm. So if I'm 110, I was trying to drink like 55 ounces of water. Mm-hmm. But if it doesn't have any mineral, I don't know, like, quite honestly, you know, it's like, you know, I can think about the alkalinity and I can think about all the minerals, but then if you go back to like plasma energy, like that becomes irrelevant. But like based on what my belief system was then, you know, I thought, oh, I'm actually like draining myself out of minerals, which now I have other conflicting information or different information that is another layer that is like, well, that's irrelevant. So, but, you know, based on what it was then. So one day, when I was desperate, thinking that my head was going to be completely bald, I had been crying. I'm an actress, and yes, I am narcissistic, and, you know, I want to keep my hair in my head. And I was feeling very depressed. But I saw a video by, what's his name? I have it right here. He made a video, Bartolomeo made a video about the Master Fast, and he showed before and after pictures, and I was like, yes! So I found that in tandem with Dr. Morse's information. So I started just like reading as much as I could. I joined the Master Fast group, and I started just watching videos and like, can I do this? Can I like not eat?
When was this? I know you've been in the page a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been there probably about maybe a little less than a year.
No, okay.
Well, and I do have to say that I did have a period of, this was probably in the year like 2003 on. There was a period of time where I was doing like colon cleanses, but the ones that you drink stuff like psyllium combined with other things like I think there was a combination that it had bentonite, psyllium, apple juice, aloe vera, and the green stuff. Food. How do you call that? Chlorophyll, liquid chlorophyll. And I would do those. It was like a 4-week thing, yeah. And I was doing like also liver flushes or like the master cleanse fast, and I did water fasting. So I mean, I was already kind of like doing different things, but it wasn't enough. I knew there was something else that I could try in my search for health, which, like I said, thank God I don't have like any horrible diseases. You know, I appreciate that. But still, I was having a lot of issues. So I found the Master Fast, and I thought it was crazy, but I read because it made sense.
Yeah.
So I just love like listening to people like I'm on this day and you know, I feel great and I'm not hungry. I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to jump in. So as soon as I had like all of the ingredients, I said, okay, well, let's see, let's have a goal of 108. If I'm going to do this, I might as well just do the whole thing, and see what happens. So, and please feel free to stop me anytime, okay? If I'm like talking too much.
No, this is, you know, you're here to inspire. You know, I've done enough talking. I'll just ask questions if they come up. But okay. Yeah, a lot of people, you know, they come and they see what's going on. Wow, this looks crazy. I never thought anybody would do 108 days, and look how many we have now. We have over 100.
Yes, well,
that we know of. There's many more out there. That
I'm sure there are many more. Hiding. Especially the enema thing, because like I was a virgin. I've always thought, you know, in some of my research, I've always read about, oh, coffee enema. So I'm like, oh, a coffee enema. But actually, I never came around doing them. And, you know, maybe it was my inner self like, don't do it. But like, I always thought about it, and I always was scared about it. Like, oh my God, I'm going to put something down there and I don't know what's going to happen. But I tried it and I love them. Thank you. It is a whole new something that is normal to me now. But people, my people think I'm crazy, but it's okay.
Yeah. They wash everything else, but everybody thinks, you know, washing down there is something strange.
Exactly. And I was like, well, if I brush my teeth and I wash my face, I mean, why not wash the colon?
Right? When my parents were growing up, when they were little, as soon as they got fever or anything, they got an enema.
Wow.
So
that's wonderful to have that background.
There's nothing strange to me.
Yeah, to me, in my belief system, is like, oh, that whole sacred, don't touch it, right? Yeah. Especially because when I was living with my aunt that used to overfed us, she used to say, if you don't finish that, it's going to go through a enema. And I'm like, oh, enema.
Punishment.
Oh. So that was like a punishment, right? Like, oh my God, no, don't touch that. So I jumped in.
How do they call it in Spanish?
What's that? Lavativa. Lavativa.
Lavativa?
Lavar. The lavar from washing. Lavativa.
Lavativa, okay.
Se lo meto por lavativa, you. And I was like, it doesn't sound right. It sounds like it's really wrong. I don't want that.
Right.
So I jumped in. I remember it was not a Monday. It was not a beginning of the month. It was just I came back from a trip to Los Angeles. And I remember picking myself out with like these vegan, delicious blueberry muffins. And I said, okay, I got to eat all these muffins because you know what? China rain, I'm going to start my masterclass system. So I did. And I had no idea how much relief and how much freedom I was about to experience.
Mm.
It was just the beauty of the simple. It is, I don't know, some people might think it's complicated, but like it is simple in terms of the structure of it and the beautiful monotony of it, you know. And I didn't have to think about food, about what I'm going to eat tomorrow, what I want to cook for dinner, where are we going to go for lunch. And I mean, I realized like, oh my God, I'm not hungry. It's just an emotional craving. Like I do feel like something crunchy, or I do feel like something sweet, or something spicy. But like if I check with my stomach, I really not hungry.
Yeah.
I feel satiated. I feel full, not full, but like I don't feel like I really needed to survive.
Exactly. Yeah.
Another of the things of freedom that I experience is that, you know, I'm a recycler. I like the earth. I don't like trash. I don't like producing trash. So it was really freeing that you know, like all the packaging from the to-go places, or all the plastics that all of that, like, oh, I'm not contributing. I'm contributing less to the ugliness of the planet. So that was good. And just
That's interesting you say that, because on garbage day, when you look outside, everybody's garbages are just overflowing. They've got maximum, and my place has got nothing there.
oh my God, yeah, exactly. And you know, and even the compost pile, like sometimes when I eat, you know, like there's a lot of peelings, there's a lot of these, you know, from cutting these from the oranges or whatever. And sometimes like there's not enough space in my compost pile. Like, but when I was doing the masterclass, it's like, oh, I don't have to do that either. It's just so freeing.
Yeah.
It's just so freeing. I felt lighter in many, many, many different levels. And you know, guilt, like a lot of guilt that has to do with the recycling or the trash. But let me see here. Yeah. And the waste. So I really enjoyed that part. Now my master fast day, I was having 4 tablespoons of the pudding every day, because I was already used to having psyllium already.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, oh, okay, 4 tablespoons. Yeah. I was having my kidney tea in the morning with my tinctures. I did the 12 tinctures, and then I would have my psyllium. I would have about 1.5 liters I was having of the grape juice with the lemon.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, you know, my tinctures and 1 enema. I know I should have done more than 1. I know. If I
psyllium charcoal and clay.
Yeah.
You were saying psyllium charcoal and clay, right?
I was what?
Psyllium charcoal and clay.
Yeah.
The plasma pudding. Yeah.
The plasma pudding. Yeah. But when I was doing the enemas, I was just doing 1 bag. I was kind of lazy, so I was doing 1 bag a day. But let me tell you, I still had like releases. Like, it's amazing. Every single day I had a release, and I'm like, really? I mean, I never been like overweight. I've always been trim. It's like, how does that shit fit inside of me? Where does it hide? I mean, I can just imagine other people I know. But like, I was very impressed with the amount of garbage that came out of that colon. And even though only with 1 little baggie of like 2-quart bag. So then, so I would do the 16-hour dry, because I was already doing 16 hours before, just, you know, in my regular life. So 16 hours was like, okay, I can do that.
How long were you doing dry fasting?
I had been doing dry fasting for about a year. just because I watched this documentary called it was something about fasting that they were showing a study with mice where like they just dry fast them and they live longer. So I was just doing that, and also to give my liver. I was reading, I don't know if it's true or not, but like after 16 hours of no food, the liver starts producing the growth hormone that helps heal and regenerate the organs or what have you. So I was doing that already. I never did a monthly fast. I confess. I just couldn't. I tried to do. I think the longest that I went was probably 38 hours or 40, maybe 42. Maybe 42 hours was my longest dry fast. After that, I just couldn't function, and it wasn't good. So I'm still working. I'm still working on it.
What was your weekly dry fast?
My weekly dry fast was 36 hours. 36 hours. And the first 3 times they were tough. I was feeling really dizzy, and but another confession to make. I was not moving too much. Now, when I do it, because I will do this again. Okay, mark my words. I will do this again with better clarity and with more not information, because information is there, but like with more clarity. I will work out. Like I wasn't doing it. I wasn't moving enough. I did buy a rebounder, but I wasn't using it so very much. But now I would do it. Now I understand it because I've been following up with the weekly dries now.
Yeah.
And I went to the gym 3 times, and then I did my dry, and I was like, woohoo, rock and roll. Like, I was feeling awesome. And I was like, oh my God, if I had been doing this during my master fast, oh my God, it would have been even better. And another thing that I would do is do colonics. Actually, this Monday, I have my first appointment for like a 140-minute closed system colonic. So I'm extremely excited about it. So I would do that. I will do that when I do my next 108, because I now understand how important it is. I did release like a lot of mucus plaque, like every day, a few days. Like my 2 record ones were 44 inches. Wow. Yeah, pretty long sucker. And the other thing that I released, one was day 55 and the other one was day 102. I released worms, very, very thin, but like 15 inches long. Really, really, really thin.
Yeah.
I was impressed. Like, what? And then a few blobs of like baby ones. Amazing. I attempted to send those to a lab so that they can tell me what they were, but like nobody receives worms. So I was unable to classify them. But I was very curious to know like what kind of worm that was, because
well, what I say is it going to help you heal knowing what they are?
No, it's just going to satisfy my weird self. Yeah. My curious self. But you're right. No.
We're curious, but it's better to focus on the goals, is what I say.
Yeah. Yeah, very true.
Robs our energy trying to figure out all this stuff, and even when we know, we don't know anything.
Exactly, right? Like the more you know you don't know, and it's like, no. Okay. Yeah, so there's always another extra step. Now, I think it was like after 1.5 months, I was having a lot of trouble drinking the juice. And then, later on after I watched other videos, I heard that it's because you're stirring things up in there that are really deep, right?
Oh.
But I just couldn't get it down my throat. So I switched to the watermelon juice.
Mm-hmm.
So I was using watermelons every 2 days and boiling them, and they taste very different than when they're not boiled. But I learned to love them. So I am in love with watermelon juice. I still love the grape. And that allowed me, I was actually over drinking. I think at some point I was having like 100 ounces, and then I had to like step back because I asked you guys and you're like, oh no, that's too much for the kidneys. Oops. So then I had to just measure like only 3 liters, Erica, only 3 liters. Oh, I want more. So no, I stopped at 3 liters. And I did, at the end of the fast and the almost end of the fast, I started having some cravings. So it was, I think the last 2 weeks were pretty tough. And I was kind of annoyed because I was like, why am I craving if I don't need it? It's almost like a battle between your emotional self, with your mental self, with your spiritual self. And it was tough. It was very
in my
tough.
opinion, the reason you were having cravings towards the end, and I had them before as well, is because you were anticipating, you were preparing to break your fast. That's the only reason. Otherwise, you will never be hungry again if you don't put it in your head.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. And that's probably
You probably looked at pictures, videos, and stuff like that, and then start picturing it in your head. Yeah.
Absolutely. I was like, when I can eat, I'm gonna eat that and that and that. But then I was like, no, only fruit. Yeah, right. Tell me only fruit. That's what I wanted. That was my plan. It wasn't. I wasn't super successful, but I'm doing my best to like stay clean, and I'm doing my everyday dry fasting, and I'm doing my I dry fasted 36 hours, and today is my second day. I had a day of hydration, and then today I had a full master fast, and tomorrow I will have to prepare for my colon cleansing. And it's such a relief to have the master fast, to just go back and jump into it, because I do find myself bloated a little bit, like burping, and I mean, eating is kind of like a chore, and sometimes it's a joy, because you're like, oh, this taste is fantastic, I want that, right? But then after you eat it, it's like a burden.
When did you break your fast?
I broke my fast at the end of January.
Okay.
And so it's been a couple months, and I'm, when I broke the fast, I'm like, I'm not going to do this again until next year. But the more and more I am experiencing life, the more and more I want, like, maybe I want to jump back again. So we'll see. I mean, eating is complicated. One of the things that I also realized, and it was that food is entertainment. I mean, I do get it that we're in 3D, right? And we won't be for long. I don't know. Maybe we will. I don't know. But like, so it is part of like the sensation part of the 3D world, right? Like the flavors and the smells and the textures and all of that. And we're here to experience life, and we're in the leading edge and blah, 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 right? But at the same time, it's just, it's complicated. It's, at the same time, it is part of a bigger chain that, sort of like a karmic chain. So I don't know. I mean, it is all, it could be one thing or the other, right? Depending on where you're standing. But I do like the concept of cleaning inside out, and cleaning the world and making it more beautiful and contributing and being responsible. So yeah, I mean, I'll just go with the flow and follow the process. Do you have any questions?
What weight did you start at? How much weight did you lose?
Oh, yes. I started at 105, and when I finished my fast, I was 83.
Okay. How tall are you?
I am 5'2".
Okay.
Well, 5'1.5", but
You're petite.
I'm petite. And I've always been skinny, I've always been thin. But, I was feeling great at 83. And right now, I'm back at 93. So I gained 10 pounds of weight. Oh, my God. No, that's not true. I'm building muscle. I'm indoor rock climbing now. So I'm building muscle.
Anybody give you a hard time from your weight loss?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, people, yes. My dear family, I love my family so much. But they were telling me all of the wrong things, all the things that can go wrong. And you're too skinny. Like, are you sure you're not anorexic? And I'm thinking, anorexic don't ever eat, and that's a completely different thing. But oh well.
Yeah, it's funny, as human nature. We love to give opinions of things we know nothing about, have no experience.
Yes, and it is funny because it is so easy to give an opinion without even read anything about it on the first hand. And so I didn't really publicize it, and just a few people knew. And then at some point I was like, why do I have to hide what I'm doing? If people ask me, I'm just going to be open about it. And, why do I have to hide?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to take personal their opinions, because part of me first was like, just keep it to yourself and don't tell, nobody needs to know anything because they have their own opinions. But then I was like, well, maybe it could be a trigger for somebody. Maybe it could help somebody question and go do their own research. So I'm like, I'm not going to hide it anymore. If people ask me, do you want to have lunch? Or I can say, I'm sorry, I'm in the mass fast system right now. I'm on day 86, so maybe after, in 3 months. And then if they ask questions, I can tell them where to find the information, and why not? And if they, have an opinion, they are free to their opinion. It's okay. It's not personal. It's their own paradigm. I don't have to take it personal. So that was my take on it, because I was like, why do I have to hide myself? I don't have to.
Yeah, just some people, it's very hard on them when they hear all this stuff. So when it doesn't bother you, like myself, I've been doing it for so long, and watching people eat at weddings and this and that, and then you still get comments, even though they know you do this for years and years and years. But that's the way people are. It's okay. But for some of us, it's probably better to keep it to yourself and be quiet and go within. Everybody's going to experience a little differently. So, if you can handle yourself and it doesn't bother you, you can share it. But otherwise, best to stay silent. Fasting in the spiritual sense is always better to be in silence.
Of course. Of course. I mean, I would only share it if people ask me, or if they, they're trying to invite me to eat some food or something, and I say, oh, thank you, I'm not eating right now. Like, why? All right, you want to know? Here it goes, honey. So, yeah, I'm very grateful to have found this, especially because of all of the support. That was one of the biggest things for me, that whenever I was freaking out, whenever I was having certain things happen to my body that I didn't understand, you were there. Rana, Gino, Michelle, like everybody, cheering up, and also explaining, yes, that's normal, and it's happening because A, B, and C, and you can do these other things. I'm like, oh, okay, great. And just having that that support, where we're in this together, you're not alone, we're doing this too, we've done that. That was for me a very crucial part of it, as well as for just keeping it up, just how do you call that word, accountability to myself, and also, you know, to my peers, to my master fast peers. And that was a huge thing, because otherwise you're alone.
Yeah,
Like
like
nobody around me. Like, I don't know anybody doing it. I don't know anybody personally that is doing it.
yeah, when you're doing it, when you're going into these long digestive vacations, sometimes, you know, you get into these healing reactions and stuff, and your mind goes blank. Even though you've done it before and everything, you just goes, you get a blank. So this is where, you know, we have this information outlet where you can go back and look at what, okay, I mean, this and that, ask questions, and you know, it really helps people. It's very it's crucial. You know, it's not nothing I had when I started experimenting myself way back, and it makes it so much easier for people. That's for sure.
Now, as far as my the things that I was battling with, my skin got so much better. Mwah. Yeah, because I used to break out a lot, and also you know, it just much more moisture. I love it, and my hair stopped falling. My gums are not receding anymore, though I've been using like twice a day. I'm switching with the coconut oil with turmeric, like 20 minutes, like clockwork, like twice a day. And I mean, it's working. I did have my teeth cleanse. I was really afraid of going to the dentist because like my gums were like bad, and I'm not into like any of the procedures that they want to force on you. So I had to find a dentist that will just not do x-rays and, you know, things like that. But I got my teeth cleansed, and now I'm like, now I can smile. Because they were a little, they were all, I don't know if you remember any of my posts, but like I was freaking out because my teeth were like really stained, and I was like looking really weird. But so now they're clean. And so I'm very happy. Like I start to see changes actually after like a month and a half after I'm done. I'm starting to see most of the changes, which is amazing, because I was like, oh, interesting. Like the healing is still going. You know, my skin is more hydrated now.
Yeah. Second phase is very important and keeps going for a while, at least twice as long.
I do notice that my kidneys are still need work. Okay. I could be filtering better. And I know, because based on what I've learned so far from you guys about the eye, you know, that I have the nerve rings, which now they're kind of like cut. You know, before it was like a clean circle of the rings, and now they're kind of like have like cuts. So I'm like, okay, they're dissolving. That's good.
Oh, wow, good.
But I know, like based on what I was reading, that my parathyroid, parathyroid.
Yes.
Okay. It's not as its fullest, because I do get now less, but like I do get it has to do with the connective tissue and getting bruises, and I know I'm still clogged. Like I know this area is still clogged, so I know I had only scratched the surface, which is unbelievable, but it is true.
You've opened the doors and you're walking through. Keep walking.
Yes. I do feel excited about cleaning all of this, because that has to do with the hair falling, and well, based on like the Dr. Morse, because I also like read that, but like you know, all the clogginess that I still have in my head. I know like the stomach is first, and then it goes up, and then, you know, everything can drain down, right?
Yeah, there's, you know, lots of things you can continue to do, and you know, getting the ears opened up, hot and cold, castor oil in the ears, castor oil in the back, on the throat, castor oil. You can do neti pot, you know, because a lot of us are, you know, plugged up here, and if it's a difficult challenge for people to get the head to drain.
Yes, no kidding. I mean, not just the other day, I started to feel like here in my bronchial area, I started to feel like, oh, something's loosening up over there. Oh my God. I don't have the flu. I never got the flu during the MasterFast. I was really hoping for it because I couldn't wait to drain all that mucus out of my head, right? And I'm like, darn, I never got sick. Darn it. Well, not sick, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Like drain, and I haven't done that yet. So I'm like, darn, please, cold or like maybe a little bronchitis, but no, it didn't happen. But just the other day, I started to feel like something moving there, like oh, like if I were to cough, like some. So I can tell that because I'm so in touch with my body now. It's amazing. Like I swear, like I eat some fruit or like a little bit of avocado, and I instantly feel my liver. Like, oh,
that's
so I feel my pancreas and my liver, and it's amazing how in touch with your body you become. Like you pay attention to all of those details. Or like if I, whatever it is that I drank something and I start feeling my sinuses and I'm like, oh, darn it, is that mucus forming? Oh, shit. So it is, I'm excited to continue the process, and I probably will choose October again as my start, just because thanks to that I got over Thanksgiving and New Year's and all of those holidays without eating anything, because like I'm telling you, there was so much food in that table. I'm not kidding you. And I was so happy to be like, I can't taste your food, I'm so sorry, like that, without feeling guilty. Like without them feeling bad.
Mm-hmm.
Because food is love, right?
Yeah, of course.
Some people, right? They cook it for you because they love you, and I get it. But like, thanks to the MasterFast system, I was like, I'm sorry, I love you, I want to try it so bad, but I can't. So that was a great time of the year, and I was very lucky to get a bunch of, like, I think I got like 20 watermelons at Costco just in case, hoping they won't go bad. Right? So I had enough watermelon to finish my fast during that era of the year, time of the year.
They didn't go bad?
They didn't, actually, only the two last ones, but like it was like 2 weeks after the MasterFast, because I wasn't counting the days of the dry fasting days, so I had like way more watermelon that I was bargaining for.
Mm-hmm.
It worked out.
So you did most of it with watermelon?
I would say I did over a little less than 2/3 with the watermelon.
Mm-hmm.
I still love the grape juice. Every day I have my 4 tablespoons of psyllium, whether I am master fasting or eating or hybrid or whatever. Mm-hmm. I still do it. I still do my dry fasting, and I do drink a lot of coconut water. And somebody was telling me, Erica, you're going to ruin your kidneys because it's a lot of potassium. But then again, going back to the elements, what's your take on that?
It's a seed, very, very heavy liquid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't advocate drinking lots of it. We use it as an option for when we do our long dries to break. But that's about it. I don't advocate drinking a lot of coconut water myself, or it tastes good, but once you understand that the body's the mechanism that hydrates, mm-hmm. Anytime we put other things to hydrate us, we take away from our true capabilities. And we'll never truly hydrate.
Well, I was reading that, and then somebody asked me, well, then why do you have to drink 2 to 3 liters of the juice, Erica? And I said, wow. I went like,
We're using the juice for washing, not for hydrating.
Okay, thank you for that. Then I have my answer now. Okay,
we call it liquid drainer for a reason. We call the Concord grape juice liquid drainer.
Yeah. and people, when they don't drink enough, is, the stuff starts loosening up and it can't come out, and they literally start drowning in their own filth. That's the challenge when we don't drink enough. There's nothing to do with hydration. Most people are already in a very, very dehydrated state, and it's not going to flip from a dehydrated state to a hydrated state in a few months. It'll improve, but it's going to take years for most people, because it took years to get to that state. Especially people that's, drinking 1 or 2 gallons of water a day, that's a huge strain on the body, huge strain.
Yes, and I can tell I'm still dehydrated, because when I look in my eye with my flashlight, which, by the way, I haven't been able to take a decent picture, is ridiculous. But I even tried the iPhone, my boyfriend's iPhone. It's just not clear enough. I don't know how people do it. But anyhow, when I look at my eye, I still have the rim around it, and I've heard you guys say that that's dehydration. So I'm like, darn it, I'm still dehydrated. So it is more about cleaning than about drinking or eating fruits, right?
It's about subtraction.
Yeah, subtraction.
That's the bottom line. Where I haven't seen much out there of people focusing on how important the subtraction is, because everything else is just getting in the way. And we've structured it so we can do things minimally to assist us in removing obstructions. That's all we're doing. We're not focusing on anything to do with nutrition, because there's no such thing, or calories or any of that nonsense. We're focusing on subtraction to allow the body to start hydrating, feeding itself, and finding its own balance so it can heal. That's basically how simple it is. Anything else we try and focus on, it just leads us to more confusion and wastes our energy that we could be focusing on our goals instead. Because that's really the important thing. Through our intent and emotion, it all gets done from the soul. All this other stuff, we can be curious and analyze and this and that. We don't know. We don't know. We really don't know. I don't care how many billions of dollars they spend trying to figure it out. It's always changing. And to me, when it keeps changing over the years, there's no truth in it. Basic universal laws of how the universe functions has been the same for billions of years, and it ain't going to change. The fundamentals of how the creation works cannot change. It's simple. And all we need to know is there's no stagnation in the universe. Everything's continual flowing. And we come into this matter state and we plug ourselves up with all these heavy 3-dimensional things, and we stop that flowing happening. And that's where Arnold Ehret was one of the few that I know that saw that over 100 years ago. And he gave us this simple formula: V equals P take away O. He understood energy more so than what people understand when they read his book, because everybody's looking at matter state when they're reading his book. I did that for many years until I started to grasp a little bit of the effects of how plasmas work, because this is how 99.99% of all the universes are made of, is plasma. Everything you look around, living, non-living, is all made up of atoms, and atom is a plasma, and each plasma has its own soul. And so what are we made of? We're made out of atoms. And the animals are made out of atoms. The things are made out of atoms. Wood and everything's made out of atoms. So everything has a soul. Everything has energy, and is continually interacting with other energies. So this is the fundamental basics of creation. Do we understand it fully? No, but at least we know what to do to allow ourselves to move in the direction of and remember where we came from. Energy forms. Planets don't eat. They don't have engines. They don't have wings. Same as an atom. The atom is a reflection of the universe, and vice versa. So they don't produce any waste or anything, and they're continuously in motion. Where does that energy come from? That's the question I keep asking. It's within us. It's within from soul. It's an infinite source. And once humanity starts accessing that, look out. You're going to see the planet change overnight. I see slowly people are starting to comprehend, and things are, and then I see some crazy stuff happen. I go, forget it. I give up on humanity. And then they say, no, let's focus on where we want to go. Forget about all the bull crap, because there's a lot of beauty all around us, and that's all we need to focus on, because all the other stuff is a reflection of us within. So we need to allow ourselves to have that faith and trust in creation and its perfection, and finding its balance, because that's all it does. This is seeking balance. The ones who are disturbing that balance will have a big awakening one day or another.
Yes. Well, it's all true, right? But in the meantime, it is challenging in a way not being in the master fast, because we're out there and okay, fine, we're having one meal a day or whatever it is that we're doing, and then like, okay, so how much of it is liquid? Then you start thinking, right? Like, okay, well, I need to hydrate. Then you go back to that, like, I got to hydrate. I need to have this juice or that fruit. Or in the meantime, when you're in the middle of it, that's when I have the questions like, okay, well, how much juice is enough? Or, if I'm going to be drinking juice as a hybrid, or fruit as a hybrid, like, for example, I don't know, Rana, if you want to share how much juice are you drinking, or, I'm just curious. I don't know. Just having somebody else's perspective. I know that ultimately we don't need anything, but like in the meantime, here we are, right in the middle of the road.
Yeah, of course. We, slowly, surely, over the months, over the years, there's no rush. On hybrid, if you're eating, fresh, ripe fruit, just juicy fruits, you're not going to be drinking as much as when you're on a full master fast. So, 1 or 2 liters would be enough for most people if they're eating all that juicy fruit. But I would focus on continuously improving the dry fasts when you're back on food, especially after you've done 108 days. You got a better, lighter GI tract. So things are working much better, and we can focus more on extending those dries. And we have it all laid out that if you can't do a dry, just go to train yourself with the semi-dries, and then work your way down from there to less and less and less. There's people who could barely do a 24-hour dry fast, and now are doing 3-4 days, no problem. This is after 1 or 2 years of practicing, but this is what we're doing. We're not about fanatical about all these bullcrap rules. But it's not a dry. That ain't dry fasting. Blah blah blah. And,
don't touch the water. Yeah.
we're showing people that we're getting results far beyond what anybody else is doing out there. So I don't care what other people are doing and what they're saying. I've been around for a long time, and I've seen what everybody's doing. I've been there. I've done most of that stuff. And not that I know it all, but we focus on results. That's all we focus on. And we're going to do things to allow people to get the results, no matter what it is, no matter who makes the rules. We make our own rules in the realm of Master Fast, and we're showing people what's possible, and because everything's possible. We've seen things that I still shake my head. Man, oh man, nothing's impossible. It's just amazing what's going on. So at
the end of the day, it's less is more.
Yeah, day by day.
Less is more. Let's live more dry fasting. At the end of the day, we're not talking anytime soon.
We'll get there slowly but surely. And we're going to get into challenges. We're going to fall. We get up and we keep going. The ones who quit, they're never going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
they're never going to get there.
Yeah.
So, focus on those goals. No matter what, just keep focusing on those goals. Most of us are going to fall, and that's okay. As long as we don't go too crazy and hurt ourselves, we're going to be able to, brush off and keep going and learn from the experience.
And it's exciting because I was spending so much money on like supplements, and I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah. The only thing I've seen them do is bring in balance to the body. When people have been taking them for whatever, and they feel benefits and so on and so forth. Stop taking them. What happens? They go back to where they were because they haven't solved anything. They're just masking and what's the word that we use? Suppressing. What's really going on. There's not actual a balance coming within the body. When you're playing with chemistry, it's always failure. Always failure to try and find balance. You're not going to figure it out. It's built within. You don't have to figure it out. You don't have to think about it. Let the soul work through the body, and it's within our design. We can't escape it.
Yes, I love it. It's freedom. It's freedom. It's like one of the main things that we all want, right? Freedom and happiness. That's what it is.
Yes, I most freedom I felt is my first 12-day dry fast. Wow, this is what it's all about.
When I look at things differently. So I'm like, oh my God, I just want to give everybody vouchers for like a colon cleansing. It's like, man, like my family, mom, dad, everybody's like, oh my God, you're walking around with a very dirty colon. But it's amazing how like everything switches, the way you see things, the way you see everything is so obvious. Like all the pains that they feel, and I'm like, oh my God, and you only had a clean colon, honey. Yeah. So it is amazing. I'm trying to convince my mom to have a colon one of those with me. Like, let's have a date instead of going and have lunch. Let's go clean our colons together.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing with my mother.
That's awesome.
They won't change anything else, so at least we get her, to clean out a little bit, and it'll help to a certain degree. So we do what we can with other people.
Yeah.
I want to say one thing. The pudding, Eric. For the pudding during MFS hybrid, you don't want to take 4 tablespoons because it's too much. I would say 1 to 2 tablespoons maximum when you're eating. Yeah, because it's
if it's moving through you, it's not going to be a problem. Some people have issues because their colon's not working properly, and the volume, they believe it's the pudding plugging you up, but it's not the pudding. It's the impacted stuff within the GI tract that is not allowing to be released and holds on to the pudding. So this is why, over time it's going to all come out, and then you'll be able to tolerate more and more and more. If your colon's GI tract, everything's working fine, I don't see a problem with people doing large volumes myself. We've done making the plasma pudding pizza, which is a lot of plasma pudding mixed in. And I have no issue making that move through me myself. Like I said, some people will have to be careful, and that's why we say start off slow, because we don't know what's inside your GI tract, how much super glue is in there, and that's the challenge. It's not the pudding. The pudding is not sticky. It actually because of the clay and stuff, it's actually moves pretty quickly through you. It's like a lubricant, kind of.
I see.
And another thing I wanted to add is, if you give up it's okay if you give up for a little bit, but if you give up forever, you're not going to get anywhere, right? But if you give up for a little bit with your lifestyle, it's okay. Get up, and there's always a way. There's always a way. When you're ready, you're going to get up because you want the feeling back. So nobody's a failure. It's okay to fall. I have fallen probably more than anybody I know. So it's okay. Get up and get that feeling back.
That's right. That's right.
The fruitarianism in general has been a failed experiment in the last 100 years. People can't just thrive on fruitarianism because it's a fallacy that we're supposed to be eating anything. Fruit is the least obstructive, and the big challenge with people trying to go to fruit diet, number one, is they're not fasting. They're not removing their obstructions. And that's the biggest challenge. Very, 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 very few people are true fruitarians, meaning only fruit, nothing else, because they just they can't sustain themselves with all the obstructions in the body, and the fruit can only do so much cleaning. You will plateau on fruit, even you're exclusively on fruit. And if you look at a lot of past experiments that people have done in fruitarianism, people start having mental issues and this, that, and that, because they don't understand the emotion part of it all. The emotion is attached to the physical obstructions, and they're locked up, and people go mad, actually. You know, this is where we have to always go back to what's the focus: subtraction, not addition. When we eat, let's enjoy ourselves fully, but have your plan for your next fast and continue your dry fast.
Yes. I mean, I'm looking forward to my next long one. And maybe I will do like a short ones in between, like a 30 or something. But like, it really inspires me to do long ones, because that's when you really get into a nice rhythm. Yeah. And also because breaking the fast, you're absolutely correct, is the hardest thing. Yeah. Breaking the fast, right?
Because we're taking ourselves away from what we truly are. We're beings of plasma, light. And then we have that shock of putting this 3D heavy stuff within our body again. We go, whoa, wow, man, I liked it better before.
Yeah. Yeah, but I agree. Like while I'm choosing to here and there, you're right. Like eat it without and just enjoying it. And otherwise why eat it, right?
Yeah, enjoy it fully. Don't regret anything. Enjoy it fully. Learn from the experience and move on.
Thank you so much. I might be complete, right? I don't
know. You cut out a bit. Sorry.
So how is your? Sorry.
Hello.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, because your picture's frozen. Okay.
It's probably the connection of the place I'm at. Sorry about that.
Yeah, it happens.
So Ari, what's your lifestyle like at this point? How are you living at this point in terms of food wise and diet and fasting?
Yes. I am dry fasting daily from 14 to 16 hours, but now that I hear you, I think I will go to 17 and maybe later like increase it. So I do that every day, and then in the morning I've been drinking a lot of coconut water, quite honestly, and I think I need to maybe pull back. I don't know, I've been drinking like at least 2.5 liters of coconut water daily. And I have one meal a day, sometimes a smoothie, and sometimes a salad. I'm sorry, that's not true. After I start with my oil switching. For 20 minutes, I drink my coconut water. I wait some time. I do my psyllium, which, I mean, my bowels have been moving fine every day, but I've been doing that. I have been doing the 4 tablespoons of that with the grape juice and the lemon. And then drinking more coconut water and then having the whatever meal that I choose to have that day. Stop eating at 8 o'clock to start again the next day at noon. And sometimes I do confess I've fallen. I did have half of a burrito like 3 weeks ago or something. And I enjoyed it very much. But for the most part, especially like the last few weeks, I'm more balanced. Like I'm out of that frenzy zone where like, I can eat. I'm out of that zone now. Because I did notice that I was starting to dehydrate again. So I'm like, oh no, stop it. So then like the last 3 weeks or so, I've been more like, more focused and in what I want. Focused on what I want, more on what my lower self wants to binge on. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. So actually I don't binge. I don't. But I am a little more disciplined these last 3 weeks than I was earlier after breaking the fast. And now, so anyway, that's I do also have like some tea throughout the day, like green tea or jasmine tea or whatever I have at hand, especially because it's cold. So yeah, sometimes I have like the other day I had like kelp noodles because I love Thai food and I was craving that. I'm like, but if it's kelp noodles, it's better than any kind of real noodles or pasta or anything like that. So but yeah, basically just keeping it to one meal. And then I've been dry fasting for 36 hours each week. I have my 1 day of hydration and adding the 2 days of full master fast with the tinctures for those 2 days. And after that, just repeat,
Mm-hmm. Are you planning a 5-day this season change?
Say that again?
Are you planning a 5-day dry?
A flag a day?
5-day a dry fast.
Oh my God! I gotta put it in the calendar. Because yeah, you're right? I actually done a monthly fast. Well, now that you mention it, okay, I'll aim for that. I mean, I'll start like I want 5 days, and if it's only 2 or 2.5, I mean, my biggest issue sometimes that I had to actually break my dry the other day was because I do voiceover and I have to like, sometimes the throat gets very dry and I have to like skip something and I'm like, darn it, I had to break it. And so, like in order to keep on recording an audition or a job, I need to drink something.
Okay, yeah.
But I'll be honest, I haven't attempted a 5-day fast, dry fast.
Uh-huh.
I will now. And it'll be an attempt.
I mean, you do your longest, whatever. If it's 2 days, then 2 days. Because you haven't done 2 days yet, right?
No.
So maybe do 2 days.
You can.
Yeah.
You move into a semi, right? You can move into a semi-dry.
Yeah.
And practice like that, and so you can train yourself. But it's all good. What you were talking about? Your skin got better and everything. What things did you have challenges with when coming in, and what else did you find that helped you out?
Well, yes, of course. I used to have like some rash in my skin, and I think it was probably ringworm because it was like a little rounded thing on the wrist, and then I will need to like scratch it. It was really itchy. That's gone. Like I just noticed it because I just remember, I don't have to scratch, and so it's very refreshing not to have those little circles like something happening was with me. And maybe those were those 2 worms, now that I think of it. But yeah, so that went away. And of course my gums are like, I can smile. I'm not scared anymore. I was freaking out. I'm scared about my mouth, and now I'm like, okay, I can touch it and it's not sore. I can see the gums coming back. I'm very happy about that.
You're talking about your hair. Were you losing hair on the Master Fast, or what? Well, you said you were losing it before.
I was losing it before the Master Fast, which is why one of the reasons I wanted to do the Master Fast. And I mean, I was still losing some, but not like before. Before it was like, whoa, the whole. I mean, it was just ridiculously scary.
Usually the first month, 2 months on the Master Fast, we lose hair. I
was still losing some. Yeah, but I had baby.
Mm-hmm. Hair growth, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think the first month for sure.
I just put like castor oil. That's why I'm hiding, because like I don't want to wash it yet. But yeah, I put some castor oil in there and massage the scalp. But I have a lot of like, did you see it? That's like 1.5 inches of how long the baby hairs are. So it's really cool. So I'm growing my hair back. And let's see. I don't think I think I'm still not filtering completely, but at least I'm filtering a little bit. Yeah, that's a tough one for me. Having the kidneys filtered, that's a tough one.
Lisa's asking, what's your age?
Do I have to say it? I will. I turned 43 in November.
Mm-hmm. You're just a baby.
That's right. Could you give me 1 second? I really gotta pee.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Lisa is 42.
Yeah, the age or how old are you? People get offended when they say, how old are you?
I say, how young are you?
What's your age, or yeah, how young are you? But yeah, it's interesting. We got pretty much the same crew happening every week. So what time are we at? 8:20. Okay. Today's the new moon, I think. New moon.
Yeah. Is it today or tomorrow?
Yeah, season change for spring for us. It's coming up.
Yep. Yeah, this morning was the new moon.
Everything starts turning back to life.
What a relief. I was holding it for a while.
Not good.
I know, right? No, for a little while. But yes, I'm drinking maybe too much fluid.
Yeah, 2.5 liters is quite a bit of fluid, especially if you're eating as well. 2.5 liters is too much.
Yeah, even if you're eating a lot of sweet fruit, a lot of fruit in general, it'll make you go to the bathroom a lot. There's people believe in that stuff, but I'm for less.
Okay.
We
still learning.
Yeah, we try and find that balance to get enough to be emotionally satisfied, and that's it. Every once in a while you overeat a little bit is okay, but if we're continuously filling ourselves in the long run, I never see that work for anybody. Never. We've seen long-term raw foodists after 5, 10, 15 years go back to cooked foods and stuff over and over and over. Why does that happen?
It's not sustainable, huh?
Not in this society.
Mhm.
it
Now,
does.
you know, so what do you do if I feel thirsty, you know what I mean? Like,
You drink, you eat more fruit, yeah, but um, train the body to hydrate itself, so you don't get that no more. It takes time,
yeah. Hmm.
a few years. Don't worry about it. But in the
Okay.
meantime, do the best you can. If you're thirsty, drink or eat some fruit, or watermelon, whatever.
Okay.
But I would not go too much on the coconut water. I don't think it's a good hydrator myself, because
Okay.
it's a seed and it's very heavy.
Mm.
I would, a little bit of that's okay, if you want once or twice a week, but stick to the grape juice or the watermelon juice that you made, or the green juice, or other fruit juice, but not. I wouldn't go to the raw juices unless it's the green. The greens I'll do it raw, but the fruit juices I would do them the pasteurized, the cooked ones, the death
Okay.
one. You
Yeah,
know,
I don't have to worry about it being
because
raw.
yeah, because the raw juices, if you're going to do that, just eat the fruit. That's what we prefer. You eat the fruit raw.
Okay.
Um,
Good.
that's what we like to do. Even if you're having challenges with some flavors and stuff that you're craving, try some cooked fruit. It's very emotionally satisfying. Like the jams we were talking about, blended with half a lemon with the rind and all, and have some of that. That's what we do on the super hybrid. We haven't had much feedback on that. A few people are, experimenting here and there, but it's very, very emotionally satisfying.
How do you cook the lemon? So you cut the lemon in rings and then you add water. I mean, how do you cook them?
Well, if let's say you buy a store-bought jam, one with not with loaded with sugar, you would just throw a half a lemon and throw the whole thing in the blender and blend it. If you make your own, you get the berries and cook them, and just throw the half lemon and blend it all up.
Okay. Good.
Just yeah,
Good idea.
they're very emotionally satisfying. Or baked banana, baked what's it called, the plantain, baked apple.
Mm.
You can try all these different things. We did the watermelon, cooked watermelon like a soup. Very interesting, nice flavor. But at the end of the day, the best thing for us to stick to is your raw fruits, right? And then everything
Right.
we go away from there, it gets heavier and heavier and more obstructive. But the cooked fruit, I don't see it as being obstructive. That's why we're using it as a juice. It's a very,
Okay.
very powerful cleanser.
Excellent. Thank you for the
Another
idea.
thing I want to add is for the liquid. The thing about it, it's not just it doesn't hydrate us, but also the kidneys have to do so much work to filter the fluid.
Mm-hmm.
So too much work on your kidneys.
Yeah.
And yes, it doesn't hydrate you. And if you feel dehydrated, it's because the body is dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
The body is still wants fluid to dilute the toxicity. So and it holds, you hold into it and you swell. If you don't eat properly, you're gonna be thirsty. So you'll see it. When you eat mainly fruits, you're not going to be thirsty. But when you go heavier and heavier foods, you're going to be thirsty. Especially if you eat out, and you'll
Yes.
be thirsty. Right?
And also the dry fasting will help with that, huh?
Dry fasting is the trigger for hydration. Not anything
Okay.
you take in. It's the dry fasting that allows that the training of remembering how the body to hydrate itself, and that's very challenging for most people to wrap their head around. But that's what it does. The dry fasting is it. But the challenge is that we're in such a dehydrated state generally. It's not going to happen very quickly for most people, and they're going to get thirsty and so on and so forth because the body's burning up. It's
Like me.
drowning in their own filth. But after you do a good cleansing, it gets easier and easier and easier, and it'll switch. There'll be a time when you'll just forget about being thirsty after a while, because if you're staying away from all the foods that make you, if they have any salts in there, you're never going to get rid of that thirst. Anything with
Right.
salts, forget it. You're gonna be always thirsty. So
Yeah, and like for me, one of my biggest challenges is being well, especially when I had that tumor that got dissolved. And I still have some sort of like kidney imbalance because when I go to the bathroom, where you feel the sensation that you still gotta pee, but you don't have to pee, but that kind of thing. That's like it's like normal to me, right? So I'm
okay.
still kind of like working with that, and
Okay. So you still have some work to do. Yeah, no big deal.
I do, yeah, I do.
Yeah, yeah. One day at a time. It'll all go, balance itself out over time. It may now you're still in your second phase. It may still you get better relief through that, but I would reduce all that drinking of the coconut water for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will do that, and I will also up my dry fasting, my daily up fast, and I'll go for my goal will be to like attend the
Yeah.
5-day dry fast.
Yeah, the dailies, if you can handle it, it's okay, but we need to be careful. If you're doing a lot of daily and then you're doing a lot of weekly and then you're doing a lot of monthly, if you're not ready, you're going to find out quickly.
So do you recommend
would
that
rather,
just speaking to the, sorry.
Yeah, I would leave the daily the way it is, leave
Okay.
it weekly, and then up your monthly and then your season change as we are in now. That's,
Okay.
every day we're getting that little squeeze, and then at the end of the week, we're giving a little more squeeze. And then at the end of the month, we're giving a big squeeze. And then in the season change, we're giving the biggest squeeze. This is the systematic way we're training the body to hydrate itself. It's
okay.
I don't, it's like a step thing, like a ladder, working our way back to heaven.
Now, a question: Do you treat the monthly ones? You go with the moon, or you go with the end of the month?
You can if you like. I just go by the season change anytime close to that date. So the 21st for the 20th is our season change here. I'll do it anywhere, sometimes before, sometimes after, sometimes on the day. You could do it with the moon, like today's a new moon. Some people do it on the full moon. Whatever. Try all the different ones. Experiment.
Okay.
I just usually like.
And I do, just to let you know, Eric, just to give you an example, I do 12 hours a day of dry because I want to take it easy. I don't want to lose weight too fast, and I do tend to lose weight too fast with longer dries. So 12 hours a day, 24 hours a week, and then 48 hours a month. That's what I do.
Hours?
And yeah, and I just keep it there for now because I know I'm digging deep. I'm doing the master fast, and it's just beautiful. Like elimination is great, and I'm not losing too much too fast, and not feeling very tired or anything like that. And yes, when I do my monthly, I do them on the full moon. I always do it on the same day of the week, right? So if the full moon is before or after, it doesn't matter. But yeah, I start Tuesday, I finish Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, on master fast,
so,
we don't advise people to push, especially newbies, on the dry. You're gonna dry yourself out. We've had a few people do that. They didn't listen. But when you go back to food, you can start pushing yourselves a little more. On the dries. That's what I suggest. You have to experiment yourself slowly. Just be patient. Patience, persistence, consistency. It's not going to happen in a few months, in a year or two. It's going to take some time, but there's always improvement happening as we're moving along. There's always improvement, always improvement. No matter how little it is, if you're consistent and persistent, there's improvement, even though when it may not seem like there is improvement.
Yes. Well, and it is true that you do feel very energized during the master fast. And I mean, now I feel a lot of energy. I remember before the master fast, I was pretty much tired 24/7. I mean, even after I woke up in the morning, I didn't used to not feel that I even got any sleep because I did sleep, but in the morning I was just completely exhausted.
Mhm.
And now much more energetic, and even during the fast of energy, people, really couldn't fathom that I wasn't eating food, right? So I can see how things start moving, and you start feeling it. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's one day at a time. This is how we do
So,
it.
Erica, you're doing 4 days of eating and 3 days of fasting. 2 of them are liquid, 1 is dry.
Yes.
That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, great job.
Yeah, I normally start my dry. Sorry, I normally start my dry the night before because I take advantage of the sleeping time. So I start at 8 o'clock at night, and then I go one day, and then until the next day. And actually, I end up breaking it at noon. So it's pretty solid, yeah. So that's my rhythm. Because if I start in the morning, I already slept 8 hours or whatever amount. I'm like, I might as well just have those hours before drinking, right? So yeah.
Very good.
Let's see if anybody has a question. You guys can type or unmute.
Everybody's quiet.
Everybody's got clarity. I love it.
Yeah, well, we're all learning as we move along, and thousands of people that have gone through. It's evolved quite a bit since we started, and it's always evolving. This is the only way to allow ourselves to be open to and evolve, is to inspire each other and share each other's stories, so we see what's going on. I look at things a little differently than others, and we can see the magic happening all the time. All the time. Just amazing things happen.
Yeah, I was gonna say I drive around. I'm in LA now for weeks, and I cut myself like going around so happy and so grateful, and just looking at my hands, I'm like, yeah, you're looking so much better, and it's just so wonderful. It just piles up, like the joy and the knowing that it is much simpler to heal than what I thought before, adding more crap to my body, as opposed to just like, I don't have to do anything, like just less more, and just feeling very balanced in that way. And I've also noticed that I'm not like before. I was a little more of aware, and also like if I see something wrong, like, oh my god, the hair's falling over, and now it's more like it's alright, it's growing all back. I don't know, like I feel like something's changed to where, not that I wasn't happy before, I've always been a positive person, but I feel that it's much more, like, I'm much more in the moment, and that it's not a big deal. Like not a big deal. It's okay. Like, everything has a solution. Before, I used to have like a freak out moment of like, and then slowly go back to my balance. And now it's almost like the calmness is always there, in a way. Like it's always there, and it's like, oh, it's okay, it's no big deal, And that's I really enjoy that. I really cut myself feeling that way, and I'm like, oh, check me out. That's pretty cool. I really like this new version that has come to the surface. So, and I think it's part of the unplugging thing, right? Like I feel like another level of my emotional unplugging has taken place, and that a much more calmer version of myself is on the surface.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't seen anybody now change going through 108 days or even shorter. It's you're losing a lot of things that you're shedding. That was part of you, just gone.
Yeah.
You become more confident as you do more and more of these. So the first massive fast, there were so many changes in your beliefs, but now you see the detox symptoms and you appreciate them more.
Yeah.
You understand the process. If your hair falls, it's because it's gonna fall. If everything is moving in the right direction when you're fasting.
Yes. Thank you so much for putting it out there.
Thank you.
I respect you and appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate it too.
Both of you.
You're reading the message. Jonathan says, "Love you guys."
I don't know where to see it.
The bottom screen, you should see a chat window. If you click on that, you see the people's comments.
Oh, yeah. Got it. Hi, Lisa Blitz. And Jonathan.
Yes. You've had some good stuff happening. The thing is that a lot of us, once, like you were mentioning, oh, I forgot about my hands. And that happens a lot, especially with pain and suffering. Once it's gone from the memory. You have to think about it. Oh, yeah, I used to have that pain and this pain and that. A lot of things. Anything else you noticed? You got your hair, your skin, energy-wise is much better. So you didn't have much challenges before that?
No, my biggest challenges were the ones that I mentioned before, and my kidneys, like that.
Yeah.
Speed sensation thing, and actually that got better. Well, but I don't know if I'm straining my kidneys now because I'm drinking so much coconut water. Because
if you feel them, yeah, you're straining them.
Yeah. I wasn't feeling that, and I think I started feeling that probably like 4 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on there? And I'm not doing anything differently other than drinking a lot of coconut water.
Exactly.
I'm straining my knees.
Yeah. Did you do any castor oil packs?
How is it?
Not yet.
No.
The pain is not like super bad, but it's just like a squeeze. Sorry for the graphic, but it's just like, keep squeezing to see if another little pea drop, and it doesn't, right? And you're like try, and so that's what I used to feel before the master fast. So I know that I strained them, but you're right. Maybe it wouldn't hurt to put a castor oil pack in there. That's a good idea.
Yeah. 3 days on, 3 off, 3 down, 3 off. Keep repeating.
And I'm sorry, Rana, you were saying something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So my question was, you have a boyfriend? Do you have a partner, husband, boyfriend? Yeah. How is it with him? Doing this whole, big change in your lifestyle.
I am very lucky. My boyfriend, he thinks it's crazy, but he supports me, and he never criticized anything at all. He just observed me, make sure that I was fine when I was, those days of the dry fasting where I was really, really dizzy and I was like falling. He would just make sure that I would have myself. So, it's not something he would ever do, but, or that he even believes, but I never feel criticized. I feel like 100% supported. So, I like, in charge of his food. We've always been that way, where he eats his own thing and I eat my own thing. I mean, it's never even in my conscience. I'm not conscience, but like awareness. So thankfully, I got a lot of support, and I felt that I was just free to do whatever I wanted. I mean, I didn't have any issues that way. And the truth is that even when my family, we don't live, I don't live with my family, so it wasn't that extreme, like feeling criticized or anything like that. No, and I also don't take things personally either, because I know it's just a different belief system and a different paradigm. So I know, like, if my sister says, like, "Did you know this can go wrong?" I'm like, "Yeah, oh, it's interesting that you think that way. I gotta go now." So it's not a, in terms of like my living situation while I was doing the fast. I mean, I'm very blessed to have my partner. He's really great.
Mm-hmm. Well, when somebody supports you, it's beautiful. When they don't support you is the challenge.
Yeah, exactly. And on the same token, like, I'm not telling him you should do the MFS system or you should fast. It's the same both ways, right? I'm not him for like eating whatever he wants to, or cook or not, or drink or not, or water or whatever. I mean, it's not. I mean, I only rule in my body, and I love him the way he is, and that's why I love him. I don't want to change him. So, and I think it's very important also, on us that we do this, to also show the same respect and love for them. So, and that's working out for me, at least.
Nice. Very nice. It's wonderful when people support each other no matter what. We hear so many stories of challenges in families of people are trying to heal and families not supportive. It's really hard on them. It's not a place to heal. So the society doesn't support what we're doing in general, and it's to be in your own home and there's no support. It's not very nice, and we're putting it out there so we can change that in the ether, and people will pick it up, and it'll become commonplace. Fasting will be just as normal as eating.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, we already have 100 monkeys.
Exactly. We have 100 monkey for the 100th monkey syndrome. Yes. I'm sure we have a lot more out there. I know we do, but for whatever reason, it's okay. Anything else you want to share?
I just want to say thank you again, because this is another level, really, in my quest, in my life. My biggest goal has always been joy, freedom, and bliss. That's like in anything that I do, work or every day. I mean, that's like the biggest goal that I aim to attain. And I feel that the MasterFast system has opened that to so much freedom, level of freedom that I couldn't even imagine. And I am extremely grateful for that, because it is freedom in many, many more levels than I previously, was aiming for, and that probably are beyond description, but like some of them we were talked about. But it is good to feel like to have released a lot of course regarding food and nutrition and emotional course regarding to food as well. And I'm still working on the emotional one. I'm not there yet, but at least opening that door was crucial. So to me, I feel elated and excited to keep on going and keep on expanding as a human, evolving in this ever-changing universe that is reaching newer and newer heights of dimensions. So, 45, whatever it is that we are in. But so yeah, that's what I would like to share with you all.
Awesome, very nice. Thanks for inspiring and sharing. So other people can connect with you. Like I said, not everybody connects with everybody, but there's always that somebody you can connect with better than somebody else. And this is the beauty of everybody sharing. So we can have that magnet, I guess, that we can resonate with. So just amazing. Okay, we're coming up to close to 2 hours. We can call it a close if nobody else has any questions.
Oh my God, we talk so much, and I talk so much. Amazing.
Time flies when you're having fun. 2 hours is nothing.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
This is how it goes. These get together. We haven't missed one since we started these Zoom. Not one weekend. We've done every.
Wow.
We've done a few on Sunday, but we haven't missed any.
Good. You guys are amazing.
So
just keep on inspiring people. Thank you so much.
We keep going as long as we can. Okay, so let's stop the recording, and we'll say good night and keep that plasma love flowing. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao.